Hey guys, today we are reacting to something really strange. So this is a video that was launched a few days ago, and I don't even know how to say this, but apparently there are 12 alien craft in US custody. Did you hear that correctly? There are 12 alien aircrafts in US custody. Okay, so we're gonna... Bro, what? We're gonna react to this, and the title called my attention, and I want to just find out what the heck is going on.
In recent reporting, author Michael Shellenberger writes that multiple sources have confirmed whistleblower David Grush's claim that the United States government possesses a number of non-human vehicles. These sources are, quote, either high-ranking intelligence officials, former intelligence officials, or individuals who could be verified as being involved in the United States government UAP efforts for 3 or more decades, according to his reporting.
Hold up. You guys are telling me that the United States has 12 or more alien aircrafts in their custody, and what? How do you feel about this news? How do you feel about that? We're gonna watch more of it, but I just want to sit here and reflect and ponder just a little bit. How do you feel about that? That is so unbelievable. Whoa.
Shellenberger writes that the individuals said they had seen or been presented with, quote, credible and verifiable evidence that the U.S. government and U.S. military contractors possess at least 12 or more alien spacecraft, some of which they shared with AARO, or the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, quote, which AARO has refused to provide Congress. The office reportedly said it has not discovered any verifiable information, end quote, because it does not have the authority to verify it and may not want to verify it. Joining us now to discuss is Twitter Files author and author of Apocalypse Never, Michael Shellenberger. Thank you for being with us, Michael.
Okay. If this is true, it means that the United States has technology beyond our years. Beyond our years. It means that the United States has been studying this alien technology, has been maybe implementing some of it in its military aircrafts. And if this is true, do you think they should go public with this, or do you think they should keep this a secret? Bro, this is insane. Like if this is actually true, that's like a breakthrough, right? And we're only hearing about this now?
Good to be with you.
So, confirmation, aliens are real. This is exciting. What do you make of the baker's dozen of alien spacecraft that we have?
Well, I think it's worth just pointing out that this is very shocking. The whistleblower in question, David Grush, used a term ontological shock, which is a little bit of jargon, but what he means is that the idea that we are not alone in the abstract is something that everybody, I mean, not everybody, but many people, the large majority of people agree with, that we are almost certainly not alone in the universe. However, the idea that there may already be contact or have been contact for quite a while between the U.S. military and non-human intelligence, non-human life forms is very shocking, and it's...
Okay. But why only in the United States? You know, it's funny because we normally watch movies and we think, like, why do aliens always contact the United States? Why isn't it, you know, in other countries? And this is probably fiction imitating reality. I'm not 100% convinced yet because, you know, I need to see the evidence here. But that is insane. Why the United States? Why are they communicating only with the United States? Do they only speak English or something? Like, I don't know. Bro, how do you feel about this? Is this a whole conspiracy theory, or is it like legit? real.
It's shocking for me personally. There's things I kept out of the story that I think were just too shocking and certainly harder to confirm. But I do think it's clear that the conversation about this has progressed from the idea that the Pentagon simply has some videos to a large and growing number of people with reason to know who say that in fact there are non-human spacecraft.
Okay, so I am pretty sure that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are one of the, the pilots. We need to find the other 10. Bro, honestly, I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg and especially Elon Musk, with all of his, intelligence, that dude is not human.
That is very intriguing that there's things that you left out of the story. I hope that you'll continue to investigate them. I'm wondering how exactly these sources determined that these crafts were non-human. Was it the material they were made out of, the method of construction? How exactly did they make that determination?
Wait, these news reporters, they're not even questioning it. They're like 100% believing it, right? I'm still on the fence here. I'm very skeptical with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there wasn't much doubt. There are programs, according to these folks, that exist to not just study these technologies, but attempt to reverse engineer them. There was some, I don't know, disagreement or different levels of knowledge about the success in that. Certainly, the idea had been that there was efforts to try to operate these craft or reverse engineers to create them. There's one very interesting story, which is that a major aerospace company apparently tried to involve greater civilian scientists and engineers to reverse engineer the vehicles because the stovepiping or compartmentalization that exists really prevents the kind of innovation and sharing of knowledge that's actually essential to being able to achieve scientific and engineering goals. And so there was a very briefly floated idea to involve a larger number of scientists and engineers that was apparently rejected by the Pentagon. So these are, look, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. At the same time, extraordinary claims, you don't need extraordinary evidence to simply investigate them. And the claim here is that these craft are real physical objects. This is not a mass hallucination, that they exist in specific military bases or in contractor facilities, and that members of Congress could go and actually find these facilities or go and actually make sure they get their way in there and try to find these craft themselves.
So obviously this is amazing that we have the craft at all, but I can't help but wonder, were there pilots of the craft? Do we know anything about that? Is there anything you can say to that effect?
I'm telling you, Elon Musk.
David Grush, the whistleblower, did say on News Nation that there were, in some cases, non-human pilots.
What?
I did have confirmation of that from one of my sources. I kept it out of the story in part because it was one source, and also I felt like I really wanted to establish that there is strong evidence that there are craft, and I didn't want to get too much into what I had been told about the different potential of there being beings. It's a lot of ontological shock with just the craft, and I felt like, let's just give this a minute and let's spend a little bit more time doing this reporting. I would also say I'm not the only person that's interviewing these folks. There are other people in my article. I mentioned former Assistant Defense Secretary Christopher Mellon.
Guys, I don't know. I find it hard to believe, why only now? Literally, why now? And I haven't heard of this, The Hill TV, so I don't know how trustworthy this source is. And frankly, it I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Mentioned at least 4 witnesses. I think he said in his article in Politico over 4 people. I don't know if those are the same people I spoke to. We don't share information with each other, but there's more people that are finding the courage to speak. They're very scared. They don't want to lose security clearance, and they're also worried about retaliation. And David Grush, as you know, the whistleblower, felt like he needed to go to Congress because he was subject to retaliation.
But why
I
now?
actually have chills right now hearing that there were potentially non-human pilots that were recovered along with the craft. That suggests to me that these were craft that crashed in some way, and that's how the U.S. military was able to recover them. Is that correct?
Well, actually, that's there are cases of that. There are people that say that there were crashes. There's also cases of what they call this a retrieval program. There's also cases, I was told, of craft being abandoned and craft making its way into U.S. military hands in other ways. And so I think that it's not just that there is crash evidence, but there's also other mechanisms in which these craft have been obtained by the U.S. military.
So it sounds like
Yeah, I'm sure that there are people here in the comment section that have seen a UFO, like a UFO sighting or something that you thought was, out of this world. So it would be really nice to hear your story. I am very open-minded. I don't discard any information. I also don't believe everything I see on the internet, but I always get mind blown when these things come along because, this is a news station talking about the US government having 12 aircrafts or more. And I'm wondering right now if there are other sources, mainstream sources like that are talking about this as well. News Nation, I think I've heard of them before, so I think they're pretty mainstream. But still, I would love to read your comments and see what you guys are talking about.
like from what you're saying, your contacts are based in the United States. You've talked to military officials, people in the intelligence community in the United States. This figure, 12 or more, is specific to the crafts obtained by the U.S. military. Do we know anything more about potential crafts or pilots globally?
I mean, there should be, right?
Grush, the whistleblower, said in his statements that there is competition between the United States, China, and Russia in terms of developing reverse engineering these technologies. I should say that was not something I was able to confirm, and it wasn't that people disconfirmed it or denied it. It was just that the people I spoke to did not know that if Russia or China had these technologies or similar craft.
Okay, but it's always the United States, Russia, and China. Why not, I don't know, Angola, Mozambique, why not, Argentina, Brazil? Why is it always these three? But then again, if you think about it, there must be a reason that USA, China, and Russia are, in this space race, and they have been competing to go to outer space. They must have had something to motivate them to go into outer space. And maybe it's not aliens or UFOs, but something must have happened that made them decide, let's go to the moon, or let's go to outer space. But then again, we also might know what the official reason of the space race is, and was back in the day also. So if you know the reason, let me know in the comments. But still, it's rather odd that, it's always these three countries. It's never, Malaysia, Indonesia, I don't know.
I would also say, just on a personal level, I feel comfortable doing this story in part because of Grush's whistleblower testimony. Like the people I interviewed, I felt like somebody needed to kind of speak up and say, that what he's saying is not unusual, that you can find a fair amount of people that will talk about this off the record, or in my case, not for attribution. I will say I haven't written any commentary about the piece itself. I am planning on writing more about it, but I have actually been interviewing people for several years and only felt comfortable at this point, and in part I felt obliged to share this research and to go back to folks. But I've been talking to folks for a long time, in part because you may know I have spent a long time working on nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is a dual-use technology, and it was actually in that work that I started to come across a lot of evidence of UFOs, or what have been rebranded UAPs, but a significant amount of interaction of these UAPs and UFOs, including the most famous alleged crash in history occurred around nuclear weapons test sites and also nuclear weapon sites.
Is there any connection, Michael, between this existence of the UFOs or the non-human entities and nuclear research?
There's definitely something going on that I certainly don't entirely understand. There's, in fact, there's a major book. I've interviewed the author of it, called UFOs and Nukes, that describes many cases of anomalous UFO activity around nuclear weapons sites, but there's also been significant UFO sightings and reports around nuclear power plants.
He seems nervous.
Nature of those interactions suggests that whatever is behind those craft is expressing some concern around these sites. I'm very reluctant to get too far into it, in part because I'm a big supporter of nuclear energy. I think it's the only way to really address climate change and other important environmental issues. So, but nonetheless, nuclear obviously is as a weapon, is a very powerful and potentially dangerous technology. And so it does seem like there is something big going on there. And I would just note, we have civilian control of our military in the United States. And we've now done stories on FBI whistleblowers, and we're very concerned about the role of the intelligence community in encouraging censorship by social media platforms. And for me, even though I have been looking at this particular issue for a long time, we have a situation here where we have a very important whistleblower who the intelligence community's inspector general said has credible and urgent information. We have the DOD's special department on this, which is called ARROW. In April, the director of that program said that there was no credible evidence. The inspector general contradicted that. That now the DOD spokesperson told us and others that there's no verifiable evidence. However, this evidence does appear to be verifiable. You need to go into these facilities and look for these craft. I think there may be resistance, but again, we have civilian control over our militaries. And I think there needs to be a very clear statement from members of Congress, particularly Senators Rubio and Gillibrand, that this is not up to the military to decide what to withhold from us. This is the right of the American people to know what our tax dollars and what our militaries are doing. And if there has been some bad behavior, we know there's been cover-ups. And by the way, I will point out, this is a New York Times story from 1978, New York Times Magazine story about Pentagon covering up of UFO information. So for me, if there's nothing there, and we should keep an open mind that maybe there is nothing there, we keep an open mind on both levels, the military needs to open up. It's way past time for this. It's civilian control of our military and intelligence services. And I'm afraid that we're not seeing the levels of disclosure that I think that we deserve to see. It is ontological shock, but I do think we are grown-ups and we're capable of dealing with whatever the truth may be.
Absolutely.
That's the question I have. Do you guys want to know the truth? Obviously we do, right?
I couldn't agree more. This is in the public interest. So thank you so much for joining us, Michael Shellenberger, and congratulations on the good reporting.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so this is absolutely insane. Like, literally, it is something that is... It's hard to believe because, we don't know what is real or what is not nowadays. We have a lot of fake news out there. We have a lot of, parties with agendas, and we don't know exactly. But as I said, keep an open mind. It could be real, or it could not be, I don't know. All we have to do is just wait and see how this will play out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And guys, keep the peace, okay? I don't want to see anybody fighting in the comments. Okay, see you soon, guys. Take care now. Bye-bye. Now you can get full access to exclusive content, special reactions to shows, series, anime, full movies, and even request a video of your choice. Just become a YouTube member or join Buy Me a Coffee today. Find out more, the link is in the description.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right.